Oh, how's this? Oh, there we go. Wait, nope. God damn it. Hold on. Wait. Oh. Oh, someone's here. How does this work? Somebody told me I should try doing like live streams, or I don't know. Somebody was telling me that okay. Oh, you're watching a Loud Boys episode. Okay. Yeah, those I guess those were the days. We were able to hide how much we resented each other well enough for a couple of years. Yeah, we did a good job convincing people we were actually like really good friends. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was probably it's on me. I'm a bad, I'm like a unpleasant guy for the most part. Like I always think about what what happened. Like where did it go wrong? Where was what was causing the gears to grind? Yeah, Robbie did get mad at a lot of Robbie at least like would get mad publicly, like on air, like when the cameras were rolling, and then I saved all my screaming for when the when everything was off. Once the cameras and the microphones were off, that was when I was finally unloading on Joe. It was me screaming at Joe as soon as the microphones were turned off. Um, which is yeah, we were not really getting. I guess you could chalk up a lot of the I guess like anxiety and tension and everything that we were experiencing to like probably the pandemic. Like we were probably just like going stir crazy along with the rest of the world and trying to work together and build something, and not yeah, I don't know if any of us were like actually, me certainly myself, were not taking care of our like overall mental and physical health. um how do you Yes, Joe is the nihilist king. Joe's just a pothead. He's like a pot head and a coke head. Like I don't know what his deal was. Like we didn't particularly get along. Um and it seemed like he was always in character, like he was always goofing and doing bits in some like some sort of shtick. I never really understood like what was going on there. It was like if I mean honestly it was like hanging out with like an unsuccessful, not as talented Sam Hyde, where it's like there's just a guy who's constantly doing this like weird ironic thing that's upsetting, but also not like turning it into money. Um, so that's why it was frustrating. It was like, damn, if this actually translated to fucking money, then this wouldn't be an issue. But this just feels mean spirited, and it's not like we're not paying our bills with this. Um, yeah, yeah, he didn't care about anyone's problems. I remember in our group chat at one point, he said something like it was we I think like me and Robbie were like just venting in the group chat, and Joe just like said something like, "Hey guys, I'm not your therapist. So this is like not the place to talk about this kind of stuff." And he's like, "And I have people that I talk about this with, like these kinds of like personal things, but it certainly wouldn't be anyone in this group." So he made it pretty fucking clear early on that he didn't necessarily respect us or what we had to say or thought about anything. And that I like, yeah, I don't think he thought too highly. I don't know. I don't know where. Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely a sociopath. and like, you know, not to just cast aspersions as though I'm perfect. I'm a psychopath. Like I've gone through psychosis, and yeah, and Robbie's just some sort of Middle Eastern, you know, so that's his deal. Um but I don't know. Is that what we're gonna do on this? Is just I guess I'm just gossiping. Psychedelics. Yeah, I did too many. I didn't know. I didn't know you're not supposed to eat mushrooms 3 or 4 times a week. Whoops. Um, yeah, I learned my lesson. Fried my brain and lost all my fucking money and everything. But you bounce back. You know, that's the industry, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know. Weren't you guys up to 4K at one point? No, I never got it. I was always just a 1080p guy. I never got a 4K. No, yeah, I think the show. Yeah, I think we were somewhere around like 4 or 5 thousand subscribers, and like we had a decent Patreon going, but that all ended when I like had to go to the hospital. They were done at that point. Like I've talked about this before, but yeah, they were just they had completely written it off at that point. Um, and it's fine. It's just a dumb podcast. $4,000. Not that much. No, I think on Patreon it was like 3 grand maybe, which is nothing to sneeze at. Like there's a lot of I don't understand like the internet's such a weird place because there's like really successful comedians who have podcasts that don't get any traction. Like I study the analytics. I'm always checking other Patreons, and there's people out there who are like actually touring and doing comedy as like professional comedians, and their podcast is like getting nothing on Patreon. So it's two different worlds. Like it's just two completely different things, and yeah, they don't necessarily translate all the time. Like it's two different skill sets, broadcasting and actually doing live comedy. And you know what's funny is like I do love the thrill and the connection of doing like live stand up, which I haven't been able to do ever since my brain accident. But I also I think I like really enjoy broadcasting podcasting. I don't know. It's fun. Yeah, I enjoy just being able to like I don't know, just sit down and rant and go through all my like whatever's going on in my head or whatever, just be able to get it all out in front of a microphone like um my heroes of old, like Bill O'Reilly. Um Danny said you're lost in the maze series is I'm surprised that anyone likes it. I appreciate it. It's an act of desperation me doing that show. Like because I'm doing like I'm do we're doing Corn Fed, the main show, me, Kevin, and Sal, and that's sort of like the main, the same as any other podcast where it's like, three buddies riffing bits together. And then I thought like I need something else to put out there as like content, I guess. And I was like, maybe I could just try doing a solo thing, like maybe like how many people are actually good at the solo show. So I just like fired up Zoom one day because you can actually record over Zoom, and then I just started talking to myself, and I've been uploading it to the internet, and I'm amazed that anyone likes it. But maybe I am just just naturally an interesting guy, and I can do an entire hour and a half by myself. I'm fucking coming. I'm coming for Tim Dillon's fucking neck. Step aside, Tim Dillon. Step aside, Bill Burr. Step aside, Glenn Beck. Yeah. I mean, it is the Southern charm, racism. I've kind of moved away from the racism. It's fun every now and then, but as you get older, the ironic racism starts to lose its charm. You start looking for other ways to be subtly bigoted. You look for more subversive ways to show your prejudices and hatred to the world. Um, and what did Danny say? You unsubbed from Out for Smokes. Who was on that? It's Racine and the political guy and another guy. Um, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that on shows when they start counting the clock. Like, how what are we doing on time here? Like, clearly just exposing the fact that they're just recording something for the sake of having like something to upload. Just no real interest in doing it. I get, like, I don't know. That's the way things are now. Content creation, it's all just content, which is fun. Oh, studio time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Like, why does everybody feel like they need to have like some highfalutin hoity-toity studio when it's like that's got to be like a keeping up with the Joneses thing, because there's like all these like multi-millionaire podcasters who are putting together these elaborate studios, so like everyone else feels like they got to go rent out some sort of studio space. And it's like, I my philosophy is that if what you're doing is entertaining in any way, like if it's interesting at all, then the production quality, like, I mean, you do want it to be listenable. You don't want it to be absolute dog shit. But like, I don't understand why people need like a 3 camera setup and all this, like, these fancy mixers and microphones and all that. Because I mean, I remember as a kid listening to like AM radio back in the day, and it sounded like shit. Like, it was fuzzy, and the voices were all crackly, and it like would dip in and out. But it was like, it was still entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, even though it was like coming through and it sounded like dog shit, it was still really fun to listen to. I was a fun kid. I was listening to talk radio. What a fun thing to do as a kid. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was like, I guess that's where my roots are in talk radio, just listening to like Art Bell at 4 in the morning, and just listening to like a shitty, crackly, grainy broadcast come through where it's somebody calling in about a UFO, and then Art Bell would try. He was one of the first guys to try and sell dick pills during his broadcasts, back when dick pills were just for old men, before the patent ran out and became a generic prescription. And so these other companies got it and remarketed it for people in their 20s, for guys in their 20s, where it's like, do you do too much cocaine? Well, try this chewable dick pill to counteract your obesity and cocaine addiction that's keeping your penis soft. Um, so, dude, yeah, the dick pill thing is crazy to me. My penis works. I'm like really overweight, but I still get really hard boners, and I got nothing to do with them. Like, I got nowhere to put it except in my hand, but I have no problem getting boners. Um, what did someone say in the chat? What JRE and the like made people think a studio was necessary. Yeah, I guess so. But didn't his show started just like doing it through a fucking laptop or something? Like, those old shows looked like shit. Um, yeah, I mean, everybody follows like whatever the trends are. There's very few trend setters like myself. The Billionaire Podcast Network, that's a trend I'm setting. Why can't a podcaster become a billionaire? Do recording podcasts through Zoom. I'm also setting that trend. I'm trying to inspire the people. Hey, you don't need to actually know how to do anything or have any fancy equipment. The Zoom app will work. Um, And people should more I've talked about how anyone who's in here watching this or who watches what I do, it's not like I'm successful or whatever, but everybody should just be trying to make content now. Just in the off chance that it does take off and succeed, then you can just make money doing that instead of having to work a real job. Like, I don't know why more people aren't, reconnoitering the sort of veritable gold mine that is the internet. you know, I mean, I know some people just are incapable of doing it. Like, I know people who are really fucking stupid and have no personality, and so they probably couldn't talk into a microphone and like make it enjoyable in any way. Um, but I feel like most people are naturally like, funny and personable, and it's like there you don't have to deal with the nerves of actually performing live on a stage. You can just talk to yourself. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's you know it's just you think about like how long the internet's been around, and you see, I don't know how more people aren't like upset at the amount of fucking money content creators make now. Like, it's insulting. It's like equal parts insulting and inspiring that somebody like like, I don't know who's a big one, like XQC. He just like turns on a webcam and just sits there and plays video games and doesn't even like react to what's happening. Like, he just sits there with like this slack jawed look on his face, and he's making like crazy money doing it. And it's like, it's upsetting to me, but it's also like, well, I mean, fuck, if this counts, like if this is a way to actually make like legitimate money, then I don't know what's stopping anyone. But I mean, who knows? It's all I don't know. The world's a tricky place. It sucks. It's amazing what counts as actual fucking like a marketable thing now. Um, Wait, what? He actually did do stuff before. Because I just became aware of him recently. I don't know who any of these fucking people are. Like, I just like every now and then they pop up on my feed, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard of this person. And it's like, oh, well, he's actually a multimillionaire Twitch streamer. And it's like, oh, I didn't know it was that lucrative. What do you wait? Streamers get burnt out and just turn into chilling. That's fucking crazy. I never understand. Like, I know what you mean by that, but like, how do you get burnt out from playing fucking video games for a living? It's just insulting, is what it is. Like, anytime like these people talk about like burnout or having to focus on their mental health or like whatever, it's just like, come the fuck on, dude. Like, keep that to your like, do what you got to do, but keep it to yourself, because nobody can relate to it. It's like that article that was going around. It was like this GQ article like a month or two ago about how Chris Evans, the guy who played Captain America, was like gonna like start taking time off from acting to just enjoy life more. And there were all these people were like, you've earned it, you deserve your flowers, or whatever people say now. And it's like, no, you should want to cut this fucking dude's head off for saying some shit like this. That's fucking crazy. That like the guy who has like arguably like one of the best, least stressful lives on the planet, who could just retire, like he could just live on like the money he's already made, is like talking about how he wants to enjoy watching the leaves change color more, and you think that's like something to celebrate. It's like, oh yeah, I'm acting so hard. I gotta take a break from being a beloved film star. Just shut up. Like, I don't know why they feel like they gotta tell people this shit. It's like, if you want to dip out, dip out. Like, you don't have to fucking tell people and make it like some sort of like emotional story to trick people into thinking this is like honorable in some way. I don't know what's going on with mental health now. Like I don't, it's like I understand everybody gets depressed and anxious and all that from time to time at any level, but you're seeing like more and more extremely successful wealthy celebrities talking about how they need to like take time for themselves to focus on their mental health and do what they got to do to like heal in some way. It's like heal from what? Like what are you talking about? Um, like I don't understand. Like when Drake or whoever recently just announced that he's got to take time off. It's like for what? Like you have the best life on the planet. Like what? I mean, truly, it's like my dad told me in high school. It's like what the fuck do you have to be sad about? Um, I don't. That's where it's annoying. Like the whole mental health thing is annoying because like celebrities and like really wealthy people should just stay out of that fucking conversation. Like if that does, I don't think it helps anybody that big time celebrities are like. I get sad too because like there's nothing relatable about those people. So it's like I I don't know. Like it just seems like disingenuous is what it seems like that you're telling me that at that level of success and wealth, like you're still dealing with this shit. It's like at that point, it's on you. Like it makes sense if you're broke that you would like deal with some amount of depression and anxiety. But I like they say money doesn't buy happiness, but I think money can absolutely cure fucking depression. Like I feel like if you're financially set, then you probably don't have to deal with like real deal depression because you don't feel the fucking weight of the world on your shoulders anymore. But I mean, what do I know? Um, what did Danny say here? Mental health is in the trash. My wife is in college now, and at least 2 or 3 people out of every class is LGBTQ plus. And we live in the boonies of WNC. I don't know what is WNC. Western North Carolina. I like that the implicate. I like that the implication of that sentence is that being gay is a mental health disorder. Mental health is in the trash. There's a lot of people at this college that are fucking gay. Yeah, yeah. They need to fucking make a pill to stop people from being gay. That's the leading cause of. I mean, if you listen to what people say on TikTok, I guess being gay is a leading cause of suicide these days. Jesus Christ! I thought gay people were supposed to be fun, but they all they do is fucking complain. Um, yeah. What did this guy say? P09 Bala? What was the last game you played? I don't even know, man. I just got out of a coma. I'm homeless. I think the last actual video game I played was I was really into um Enter the Gungeon. I think that was like the last game I was really like trying to figure out. Um because those games feel the most like real life. Those what do they call them? Roguelikes, where it's like you play the game and make a lot of progress and feel like you're accomplishing something, and then you get killed and you have to start all over. And it's a constant uphill battle with little pleasure or reward, and it's mostly suffering. Um, and so that's what that was why I really enjoyed in like that game. Enter the Gungeon and Hades was another one. Those games where it's like you have to start all over every time you die. Yeah, the sort of myth of Sisyphus of gaming. Um, let's see. Wait, what? Really waiting for you to have a huge comeback. You're legitimately one of the most naturally funny people. Oh, thank you. Um, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, it just sucks what happened. I mean, I hope I can pull something out of my ass. I'm in a pretty dire situation these days, but I had a good time, getting to be on a few of my favorite podcast and make a splash, become a an unemployable public figure, like somebody who's like, well, I really have no option but to, I guess, do this because any fucking job now is gonna check my digital footprint and not really want anything to do with me. That's on me for continuing to tweet anti-Semitic things on the internet. Especially at this time. What did you say? I played Dark Souls, so I know the feeling. Dark Souls is fun. Dark Souls has a little more of a progression to it, though. Like I remember because I played all of them, and I played Bloodborne, and it's like with those games, it's pretty brutal at first, but then like, isn't it like once you start to like learn how everything scales and like which attributes to upgrade and like how to tinker with the weapons? It's like you do sort of like you can get to a point where you as difficult as the game is, you actually do start figuring it out. And I mean, they're still pretty unforgiving the entire time. But my experience with them was like it's a fucking pain in the ass playing them, but there is like this rewarding feeling as you continue to progress, and then you beat the game, and it just resets, and it's like, all right, here, play it again. And yeah, I have fun playing them. That they're very lonely games, though. You know what I mean? Like you play them, and there's like such a sense of loneliness and desolation as you're playing it. And I don't know what the fuck is going on in any of them. Like all the story and like everything that's like the actual lore is all hidden. You have to read the descriptions of everything, and that's my least favorite part of any video game is when they throw a fucking book at you that you got to read to figure like to learn about this world. It's like I don't want to read in real life. I'll be fucking goddamn if I'm reading a book in a video game. And who's writing this shit? Like I remember playing I tried playing Skyrim when it came out. There's so many fucking books in that game. And it's like who's writing the books for Skyrim? And then who's reading this? Why would anyone read this shit? I don't even want to hear what anyone has to say in that game. I want to swing swords around and cast spells and fucking kill everybody. I don't like that's where I'm like when people talk about can games be an art form? It's like no way. No, games are for swinging swords around and casting spells and shooting guns. And any attempt to make them artistic just bogs it down and makes it unenjoyable. Like like I can appreciate what the sort of swinging for the fences that Kojima does with his shit. Like I can appreciate it from an artistic standpoint, but it fucking sucks as like a gaming experience. Like playing Death Stranding and being like, what the fuck is this? Like why did you make a 90-hour game that's just like I work for FedEx on foot. Like I don't even have a FedEx truck. I have to deliver packages on foot. And it's like I get that it's like supposed to be some sort of artistic thing, but it's like, hey, how about you just give me a fucking gun and let me have fun? MGS3 rules. I'm not talking about Metal Gear Solid 3. I'm talking about Death Stranding. Metal Gear Solid 3 is fun. I just mean like he's like doing this like artsy fartsy thing with these strand type games, as he calls them. He probably is a difficult guy to work with. Like I know a lot of people got bummed when he had that falling out with Konami, but I feel like that was probably his fault. Like I feel like he was probably like making these insane demands or like taking too long or needing like way too much money to make this game, and it feels to me like a lot of that the schism there probably was his fault. Or who knows? I mean, I heard they were starting to like move away from video games anyway to focus on Japanese pachinko machines. Let's see, what is this guy saying? I'm late to the show. Honestly, first one watching. To be honest, well, this is the first one I'm doing. I'm trying to do live streams now. Somebody told me if I do, I don't know how any of this works, but somebody was telling me you could do like super chats and make money doing this, but I don't qualify for that, and I don't know how to like actually set anything up. But for now, right now I'm just growing, building something. So wait, what did you say, Dalton? You excited to see Dylan get his shit rocked by Crackamico? If you said anything about it before, I just didn't hear. Yeah, I guess that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, my opinion on like fighting in MMA and all that is it's gay. I think jujitsu is gay. I think MMA sucks. And I don't understand how jujitsu has like wormed its tendrils into so many aspects of media and entertainment that like all these comedians and like other types of entertainers feel like they also have to do like exhibition fighting. Like you like have fun at the gym if you want, but I like what's the entertainment value in watching two like not athletes fight each other? You know what I mean? Like why it just doesn't it sounds like it would be fun on paper, like oh these like personalities I enjoy are going to get in the ring together, but like it just seems like what you're going to end up watching is just a shitty fight between two people who are not like qualified to do that as a form of entertainment, if that makes any sense. Like I don't know, I don't understand like why so many comedians feel like they also want to be MMA fighters now. I don't understand the appeal of the Paul brothers as fighters. Like I don't why was anyone interested in watching the fucking Suicide Forest guy get in the ring with anybody? It seems like it seems like it's like ruining multiple things. It's ruining fighting, and it's ruining just entertainment itself, that so many entertainers are also trying to be combat sports athletes now. Leave that to the fucking professionals. You made Dylan your bitch, making him cry. Yeah, I guess that's going to be the thing that allows me to come back into the world of podcasting entertainment. Is I really did make a huge splash, just saying a homophobic slur at a guy. I still like his reaction to that still gets me. Like he got so fucking upset about that. And it's like a middle school lunch table insult. It was nothing. I didn't know him. I only knew of him at that time, and I just was like, oh, this will be like just a really stupid, funny thing to say in this moment. And he got really fucking mad. And maybe that's like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you spend your whole life being like a hot rich kid, anyone who makes you look like a dumbass is you're gonna lose your shit. Thank God I've always been fat, ugly, and poor, because like nothing can touch me now, especially now after everything I've been through. There's like literally nothing that anyone could say to me at this point in my life that would affect me, because it's like I've been through hell, dude. Spend a couple weeks in the psych ward if you want to toughen, get a thick skin, because that's probably the worst fucking experience outside of prison, or I don't know, going to war, that anyone could have. Just having to sleep in a dorm room with a homeless guy, listening to everybody scream. Let's see. Wait, what is this guy saying? The Dylan Crackamico fight got rescheduled for October 30th in Jersey. Ari Shafir put Dylan on tour with him for November. My belief is that Ari is just up to his usual Jew prank hijinks. Probably. Yeah, I don't think Ari thinks Dylan is a particularly gifted stand-up comedian. He probably did this, like, yeah, probably just to fuck up like whatever this what are they calling it? Carnival of Combat? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, why is he taking Dylan on tour with him? Dylan fucking sucks at comedy. Dylan, I mean, from what I can tell, what Dylan is good at is just being like, uh, I don't know, just a hateable figure on the internet. Just being like a pretty boy rich wigger online that everybody gets to gawk at and hate. That's, I mean, that's a skill. Everybody has their place. But like, I wouldn't say that um he's a particularly gifted entertainer. He's a good guy though. I mean, like, we were friends. Like, after the dust settled with my thing with him in that one episode, like, we got to know each other, and he, like, I never had any like issues with him. I can't have any issues with anybody anymore because I've exposed myself as the craziest fucking person alive, so I have to kind of be cool with everybody now. Dylan is rich. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think he's Ralph's nephew, Sutton. But you didn't hear that from me. Is this being recorded? How does this work? Is this recorded? This is all conjecture. I'm joking. Shit. This might actually be recorded. I love Dylan. He's very funny. Dylan, what does it say? Dylan comes from a rich, abusive Israeli family. Yeah, I mean, well, abusive and Israeli is kind of redundant, don't you think? Folks, is anybody following that story? Has anybody on any podcast talked about that? Israel and Palestine. What's going on over there? It's all my Jewish friends say it's complicated. Nah, I'm kidding. I don't have Jewish friends. I would never do that, especially now. I mean, I'm back. I'm in parts unknown now. It's down south. There's no Jews around here. Yeah. I will say, like, I keep harping on this because it seems like such an easy solution that no one really talks about. But, like, when it comes to the news and misinformation and like, the sort of accuracies of what you're getting, it's like people have been bitching for the last few years about misinformation on social media, and like the new, like, you can't trust the news you find on social media. And like, I had sort of an epiphany lately where it's like, is anybody getting their news from the news now? Like, why is nobody doing that? Like, I don't, like, the entire time that social media has existed, when did people start thinking that that was like the place to go for fucking like facts and information and news? You know what I mean? Like, there's it's such a like too much of a like swimming pool, like a public pool where just everybody's swimming around. So even if there's like journalists on there, but then there's also just like like anonymous accounts and comedians and everybody posting like hot takes and opinions and memes and everything. It's like, I don't know why anybody's going there for like what they think might be facts. It's like, just open another browser and go to an actual like news website and get your fucking news there. Like, I don't know why people aren't doing that now. Like, people have this, I guess because of like what certain like grifters have said about how you can't trust the mainstream media. Like, there's too much bias or this agenda with the mainstream media. I will say this about any sort of news outlet that's not social media or a podcast, is that each article on those websites or papers or whatever at least has to go through some sort of editorial process. Like, a journalist has to do the research and write the article and like send it to the editor, and it has to be like whittled down before it's printed. So it's like, to me, I would trust that more than fucking like Tim Pool just tweeting shit all day. You know what I mean? Like, like, why does anybody think that fucking Ben Shapiro and Tim Pool and Matt Walsh, Steven Crowder, any of these guys are like more trustworthy than something you might read on like Al Jazeera or the New York Times or whatever. You know what I mean? Like like when you're talking about agendas, right? Like when you think about like these different companies or people that have like agendas, it's also like, well, I mean, what's the fucking agenda with these like grifter types, these sort of like media personalities that have popped up within the last 7 or 8 years, like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder or whatever. Like you don't think those guys have an agenda? Do you think they're operating like altruistically for the good of the American people? Or could it be that they want to line their fucking pockets, the same as anybody? So they're gonna say like whatever they gotta say to either be inflammatory or to get people on their side in order for them to make tons and tons of money. Like that's how I think of it. Like I don't know how these people duped people into like not trusting actual news sources. Like that doesn't seem suspicious to you, where it's like these guys are like, you can't trust the news. You have to come to me for information. I'm delivering the facts. And this is also brought to you by some fucking beef jerky that I'm selling. What is it? What did you say? Uh Not saying the alternatives are superior, but there are decades and decades of blatant lies the mainstream has broadcast for various ends. Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree with that. That's why I mean, there's tons of different news sources. I don't like when what is the mainstream now? Like what counts as the mainstream? Because like it seems like that the what fits under the umbrella, like what's being put under the umbrella of mainstream, is anything that's not like just on Twitter or one of these other guys. Like they keep changing the definition of what's mainstream, because it's like I'm not I'm definitely not going to like Fox News or MSNBC for information. But like I don't think there's anything wrong with going to, like I really like Albert Jazeera. Albert Jazeera is a good source to me. And I know a lot of people talk shit on the New York Times, but I will say this about the New York Times is like all these other like a lot of these other publications got bought up by like big corporations, and at least the New York Times is at least still its own thing. Like it's owned by the New York Times. So even though there's like some goofy shit in there from time to time, there is some really good journalism in that paper. And I'm speaking from a place of not really knowing too much about journalism, but I enjoy reading some stuff there from time to time. New Yorker is also a fun one. Um, what else is there? The Blaze, Newsmax, uh, Truth Social. I don't know, man. I'm not like a terribly political guy, but you know, with everything that's going on, it's like I'm trying to figure out how to inform myself, and it's definitely not social media. That's just a bunch of people yelling at each other, and then also posting like memes. Like what's an opinion about getting head that have you like this, and it's Patrick Star chained up. What's an opinion about getting your dick sucked that got you like this? Where does Hardee's breakfast stack up with other fast food breakfasts for you? Never had it. I haven't eaten at Hardee's a lot in my life, or Carl's Jr. depending on where you are. So I don't know if I've ever had their breakfast. What's it like? What do they got? What's on the Hardee's breakfast menu? Um, Wait, what is this? I found 4chan to be an invaluable news source, to be quite honest. Really? You're getting your news from 4chan? I haven't been on that website in over a decade. That was like high school for me. Like I um very rarely ever visited 4chan, and I it's not somewhere I would go for news, but I mean, whatever works. Um yeah, it's hard to know where anyone's allegiances lie now, and whose interest they're acting in. Is And the people who actually are trying to be journalists and speak the truth or do anything like good for the world, they either get like blacklisted or just fucking killed. I would say that like with this whole Israel Palestine thing, like the North Star for everybody, the North Star of David, if you will, would be somebody like Norman Finkelstein. But I mean, that dude has been like fucking just like raked over the coals for the last probably like 15 years because of how outspoken he's been against Israel and how he's like, but he's like the scholar on all of this, but he got fucking buried because he went on he challenged Dersh. He went on Dershowitz's show and fucking called him out and made Dershowitz look like a fucking jackass. And then so like all these, he ended up like getting fired from his job and being sort of discredited in the media. But I mean that guy is like probably the most like accurate and knowledgeable person about all of this. But I think a lot of the narrative that's been written about Norman Finkelstein is that he's like an anti-Zionist, Jew hating, a self-hating Jew or something. Um, but yeah, he's probably the guy to go to for all this. Where is Louis G. Lopez? I don't know. I haven't talked to Louis in a long time. I don't talk to anybody anymore. Like I was in a coma, and I'm just forging my own path now. And when I meet these people again, I will thank them for offering, helping me on my journey when they did. But right now, I'm hacking away in the woods with the microphone is my machete as a in the woods or the internet, I guess. I don't know. Does anybody want to talk about anything? How does this work? How do live streams work? I know like a lot of people like to watch people play video games or stuff like that. But I mean, I'm down to clown if anybody wants to like jump into some topics. Or is there any way for anyone to just like hop on the mic if anybody wants to chit chat? How's this? What are you guys up to? What do you do? Maybe I should do just like crowd work. Maybe I could be the first. There we go. I'm the first crowd work streamer. What do you guys do for a living? Is anybody here, you guys dating? Are you guys uh what was that podcast you talked about Green Inferno on? Um that was the movies podcast. Um it was Low Res Wonder Bread and another guy. I forget the name of it. I think it's just called Movies. It might just be called look up Low Res Wonder Bread. But yeah, they had reached out to me about doing it, and they were like, pick a movie. And I had never watched Green Inferno, and so I was like, yeah, let's check out Green Inferno. And so I like watched it, and I was like, this rocks. This is one of the dumbest fucking movies I've ever seen, but it's awesome. So yeah, I mean, go find that. Um, you know, Eli Roth is a fun director if you like really stupid movies, really like really well made dumb fucking movies. Because when I was a kid and Hostel came out, it was like this big deal. It was like the scariest movie of all time. And I remember watching it and being like, "Well, this isn't like there's a difference between something being scary and just gross. Like I'm not scared at what's happening in this movie. I'm just like grossed out by it. Like this isn't um like I don't feel any suspense or fear watching this because like I could give a shit about these characters. You've made completely unlikable people that like you're setting it up so that we like actually root for these people to get fucking killed. So I'm not scared, and I'm just grossed out by what's happening. But it's not like, um, Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's just gross. I think like a better version of that are the like Terrifier movies. I those are fun. Like I have a lot of fun watching those because that's another thing where it's like, well, this isn't really scary at all. It's just completely over the top and fucking disgusting. But it also has like a sense of humor and it's really fun. Like the Hostel movies didn't really have like they just felt like mean spirit, like sadistic. Whereas like the Terrifier movies are actually like pretty fun movies, and the that guy doing Art the Clown it delivers like a really fun performance, completely silent. Um, what's a legitimate scary movie to you? I've been waiting for a real one, says Seabass. Yeah. Well, yeah, Hereditary is good. Um, I'm trying to think like what because it's like I am like kind of desensitized to a lot of things. So it's like when I watch a horror movie, it is like I don't know. It's like tough for me to actually feel scared watching them now. Um, so I'm trying to think like what's an actual scary movie. Um, well, I mean, shit. It is a good question because I mean, there's definitely scary movies out there. I don't want to give like cliched answers, but I mean, obviously, like The Shining is probably like the go-to. That's probably like the best example of horror there is in terms of just like atmosphere and like the overall like ambiguity of what's actually going on. Um, and I don't know, that's a fun one. Um, what else? The Thing. These are the classics. The Thing is scary. Oh, you know, was a recent one I enjoyed, and it's like it's a solid 7 out of 10. Horror movie was Smile. Like I thought Smile was really fun. Like it was very like predictable, I guess. Like I had a lot of fun watching it, and I thought like the climax of it was really good. I thought the reveal of what the monster looked like or the way it revealed itself was like a good effect. Um, Barbarian was good. Anything with Justin Long is good. To be honest with you, I like him a lot. I love watching him. I mean, just that scene where he's like, "What's up, faggot?" That was awesome. What else? Uh, yeah, the cat birthday present. Yeah, that was a good scene in Smile. Um, he also there's another like the short film before Smile, like the short film he made that got him the movie deal to make Smile. That's actually really good. I think it's called something like Laura Hasn't Slept. That's a fun little short. There's a lot of cool short horror stuff on YouTube uh as well. There's a lot of fun like horror stuff like that. Um what else is there? Well, yeah, wait. Hold on. I had a good idea earlier. What was I saying? Oh yeah, crowd work live streaming. That's that's the move. Is just fire up the live stream and just do crowd work. So what are you drinking? What do you do for a living? Are you two dating? Shit like that. Um, it's been fun. The crowd work thing is fun. It's been fun to watch the progression of what comedians are trying to do to like game the algorithm or get some sort of following in a way. Because I remember like years ago, before there was like TikTok and Instagram Reels and all these like short form things like that, it was like the the early iteration of that on the internet was this it was like this subreddit stand up shots. So it would just be like a picture of a guy doing stand up and then just in text like whatever the joke was that he was doing, And so that was like a big thing back in the day. It was like all these different comedians trying to figure out how to do stand up shots, and then um that eventually turned into everybody trying to get a spot on Steve Hofstadter's Laughs on Fox, which was like this like stand up showcase show that he did on Fox, where like all these comedians all over the country would try and do like 2 or 3 minutes of stand up for this TV show that didn't pay anybody. That was another big one. And then yeah, and then it was, people trying to post like 5 or 6 minute sets on YouTube and stuff like that, and then eventually that just culminated in um crowd work clips, which is the probably the shittiest version of stand up comedy. There's a few people who are really good at it, but for the most part, it's just a nice little way to prop up whatever you're doing. I've seen through the smoke and mirrors of it. I've seen guys who bill themselves as like crowd work comedians. It's like, oh, he's the best at crowd work, and it's really just like a smoke and mirrors thing where it's like he's using the perceived spontaneity of this to make his shitty material seem better than it is usually what's happening with like a lot of crowd work. And then like, you know the crowd work clips are just a way for I guess it's like a way for comics to have something to post without actually having to post their material. Like I don't know. I don't know. I'm out of that world, dude. I'm full-time content creator now. I'll return to stand up when the time is right, but for now I'm building my content empire, and maybe, yeah, and becoming the first billionaire podcaster, and also the first crowd work live streamer. What did this guy say? The crowd work TikTok killed Cumtown. I guess. I mean, I don't know what was going on with those guys. I mean, I think Stav won it out for a long time. People. Oh, can I do this? Yes, the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 bing. Fill her up. That is fun. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know where people's heads are at when they get really, really successful. It's easy, like when you're poor, to look at what these other, like, guys like Cumtown or any of these other like successful entertainers, and see the decisions they make and be like, man, how were you not happy with that setup? Like, why, but who knows? I've never been in a situation where I stand to really succeed or become wealthy and do my own. I don't know. I've always just been desperately grasping at straws. But I can imagine that if I was like, really succeeding, like if the Loud Boys had really taken off and we were making tons and tons of money, and then like artistically, I felt like I needed to move on. I could see that happening if we were all like comfortably making a living doing it, but I was clinging to it, because I was like, this is all we have. um, yeah. What did this guy say? The Adam Freeland show turned into an awesome pivot for Nick and Adam. Yeah, it's impressive what they're doing. I think that's a good use of that's a much better use of their money and resources than Nick investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in the different cryptocurrencies. Um, and it is like it's a fun idea for a talk show, and they're getting really cool guests. Like, I mean, like, honestly, what they're doing is like a refreshing thing in the realm of internet content. It's like this really weird talk show, but they're doing something like very different than what a lot of people are doing, which is nice to see. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who don't get it, and it can suck from time to time. It can be boring. Um, But I think the actual interviews, like that interview with Chet Hanks, was really funny. Um, what did this guy say? I'm glad you're still doing this shit, Dalton. I think you're a funny guy, and as people have pointed out, I can't really think of anyone else who would want to listen to you solo. It's tough to do. Yes, thank you. It is tough. Yeah, I have no other options. I'm not good at anything else. I tried. I spent like a lot of money I don't have trying to learn like cybersecurity and coding, and then I realized like I don't think I'm going to be able to bang this out in 6 months and just get a job in doing cybersecurity. So right now I'm working sales and just trying to also do the build my empire. Um, and I guess it is freeing now that where I am now in life and doing all this. I truly never have to worry about like gaining the respect of my peers because they'll never respect me anyway after everything that's happened. Like I'll just carve out my corner of the internet and then fuck everybody else. Um, I don't know if anyone ever actually respected me in that world ever, but that was like such an issue. That's like I mean that's an issue with like everybody in that whole space is everybody wants to be cool and be respected by everyone else, and it's like fuck it, figure out something people like and just do that. Because I don't give I like it's like who gives a fuck if like other comedians like what I do? They're not the ones that are gonna like support me and pay for anything that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I never understood that desire to be seen as like cool and respected by other comedians because I mean, like they'll support you as much as they can, but they're also like they're focused on their own shit. So like I don't know. Maybe I just have a bad attitude. I don't know. I was just like frustrated on the Loud Boys with like how much you know, like Joe and Robbie seem to like really want to uh I don't know, be perceived as cool and be respected by everyone else. And I'm like, let's be the dumbest people in podcasting. Like I don't understand why we can't just do like everyone else is trying to be cool and clever and hip. And I'm like, we can really corner the market on being like the biggest retards in podcasting. That was why it really tickled me our show that we did at Skankfest South because I was like this is such a disaster. It's just hilarious to me. I was like we in a festival full of like dumbass idiot degenerates. We are somehow the most retarded people here. And yeah, that really made me laugh. But they were kind of freaked out by it. They were like, "Are we going to get invited back next year?" And then everything that happened with me happened, and Robbie got invited back, and Joe still hasn't been invited back. So that's funny to me. Joe's Joe's getting invited on fucking real ass podcast and having to sit there, like knowing that he never got the invite to Skankfest. That's brutal. That's but he's doing fine. He's got a he's killing it at the open mics, I guess. What did Damien say? Who says they won't respect you? Ari date raped Bert Kreischer and people still respect him. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, I like that's a very alarming thing to do to somebody. But that I mean, that's kind of where operates similar to like the mafia, I guess. He's a made man at that point, so I guess they have to respect him. But like, if anybody did that to me, it would be like, nah, we're done. I would have nothing to do with anyone who ever pulled some shit like that with me. Um, but I guess he's at a level in the business where you have to respect him or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I mean, at the lower rungs, the lower rungs you got to be on your p's and q's, otherwise, no one will want to work with you. Um, you got to forgive yourself, I think. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can forgive. Yeah, I guess I can forgive myself. It's just like, you know, I went through like just a serious health crisis, and it just like just fucked up my life, you know. But it's not like I'm like the only thing I'm mad at myself about is just like how the amount of damage I've done to like my overall health and finances and just life in general. Because yeah, I was like in a bit of a really bad place, like health wise for a long time. Like I was in, I guess, a sort of coma, if you want to call it that. Um, I'm still trying to like piece everything together. I don't know. I don't want this doesn't have to get into like any sort of mental health hour, but it was like you know, I was like kind of catatonic for a long time. Um, only thing that's a giant thing, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm minimizing it. I don't know. A minor setback. Yeah. No, it sucked. And I mean, I'm grateful because I had people in my corner that were able to like help me through for like being fucked up for so long. And now I owe it to them and myself to get rich as fuck podcasting. Um yeah, it's really tough. It's yeah, it's tough to have to deal with like actual real mental health stuff, especially now that like actual mental illness has been co-opted by everyone. So it's like there's like been this parabola of the just like the conversation of mental health, where like in the past it was, what do you have to be sad about? And then over time people became more sympathetic and open to it. And so like at the top of the parabola, there was like a sweet spot where like people were aware of it and took it seriously, and we were like coming around on it. But then everybody slowly just started having mental health issues, and just diluting it to the point now where it's like this like trendy thing to be mentally ill. And everybody has like depression, anxiety, ADHD, whatever, some bullshit that they gotta fucking get pharmaceuticals, prescriptions for. And it just like it muddies the waters, because then like, when you deal with like an actual serious mental health issue, it's like a difficult thing to actually fucking deal with and talk about, because everybody and their fucking mom wears their supposed mental illness like a badge of honor now. And it's like, no, like these people that I see on TikTok who go on about their fucking ADHD or autism or depression, anxiety. It's like, you have no fucking clue what like actual debilitating mental illness is like. And that's that makes it hard to talk about, because it's like real actual mental illness is like having to go to a fucking like a hot like inpatient hospital and shack up with a homeless guy for 2 weeks, and wear the grippy socks and just pace around and get force fed different combinations of pills, because they're trying to figure out like what they got to do to keep you stable or whatever. And so it's just a bunch of Nigerian orderlies and nurses pushing you around. um and yeah, and I don't know. I've talked about it a lot, but it's also something like I don't. It sucks because it's such like a defining thing in my life now that this has happened, but I don't want it to be like my identity that I've dealt with this or have like serious uh mental health issues in that regard. Because that's what frustrates me, is the people that make it their identity. Like Seabass here. What'd you say? I like to line my shoes up by the front door. I'm so OCD. Yeah, the people who turn their like quirks or slight idiosyncrasies into their fucking identity. ADHD is a big one. I see a lot. Like all these people who talk about like the different things that makes them ADHD and what they struggle with, and honestly, it seems like what's really going on is they're addicted to amphetamines. Like everybody got prescribed Adderall, and they're just describing what it's like to be addicted to speed, more than like having any sort of actual dysfunction. Because there was like, maybe it's still going on. There's like an Adderall shortage, and everybody's like losing their fucking minds because they don't have access to their Adderall, and it's like, well, yeah, you've been mainlining fucking amphetamines for the last decade, which was never a good idea. Like you got, for all the like what we know about the pharmaceutical industry and all the like skepticism and animosity people have towards that industry, it's like they pick and choose what to be upset about within that world. Because like when it comes to like the opioid crisis, they're like, oh yeah, that's bad, that's evil or whatever. But then these same fucking companies are getting everybody hooked on Adderall, and no one's really making a stink about that. Like everybody's fucking addicted to Adderall and Vyvanse and all these different antidepressants, and nobody's talking about, like, maybe some people are, but it just seems odd that like there's so many people who talk about like the dangers and evils of big pharma, but all these people, because they're on a drug that doesn't cause them to fucking strip the copper out of someone's house and sell their mom's TV, they're like, no, this is actually good. Adderall and all that, and they don't realize that no, they also got sold a fucking highly addictive substance that's going to ruin their life at some point. And you see it when there's a shortage. People are like, going through serious withdrawals. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's such a cop out to finish anything you're saying with I don't know. That's a real stand up thing. I've seen a lot of comedians do that. They'll do a bit that doesn't really work, and then they go, I don't know. What else? What else is going on? You need to be more confident in the way you speak and communicate with people. That was something my communications teacher taught me in the semester of communications class I took in high school. Try to minimize the amount of times you say like words like that, and finish your statements with a period, and don't trail off with a I don't know or a whatever, or stuff like that. Something I try to be aware of, but those verbal tics and sort of like the nervousness that shows up in your speech, it's hard to get rid of. Don't be Jake Flores is what you're saying. Oh, that dude is like enemy number one with that shit. He's such a fucking faggot about it too. Like, I'm doing it right now. I'm catching the likes. I hear myself doing it. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying is another good one. But he types that way. I've seen people do this, and he does it a lot, where he'll post things that are typed out that way, that where he'll say something and it'll be like, Karl Marx like actually said this, like, and that's baffling to me, because if you're typing something, you have all the time in the world to be deliberate about what you're saying. And why would you type it that way? Take your time and type out what you actually want to say. I don't know why you're peppering in, why you're trying to make it align with the way people, like the way you also speak. It's two different methods of communication. Verbal communication and written communication are two different things. So when you're talking out loud and speaking to people, there's room for those verbal tics and filler words and sort of thinking out loud in that way. But if you're sitting down to write something, why would you write like that? That's the whole, like, it drives me up the fucking wall that people write that way. Maybe it's a style. Maybe it's a stylistic choice, like an artistic choice or whatever. But it sucks. And like far be it from me to criticize anyone's writing. I don't write. I just, I just talk shit into a microphone. Like I'm such a scatterbrained person. I'm lazy and I don't actually like to sit down and write stuff. So I find that I'm better at just ranting and talking shit into a microphone. Maybe I should actually write things, take a journal. Um, why would you get your balls nailed to a board? No one knows. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why people do what they do sexually, but why? I mean, yeah, why post it to the internet? Um, that's the thing that gets is like the sort of like exhibitionist aspect of it is what gets me. Why are you why are you subjecting people to this uh stuff this weird shit that you're into? Ain't nobody want to see that. Or at least put it behind a paywall. Just put it on a fucking porn website. Why is it being uploaded to like a public forum? Um, that's why he just needs to be ignored. He clearly masturbates to the negative attention. Yeah, he gets off on it. Yeah, I mean, he clearly is just like thrives on attention and like the negative aspect. Like he enjoys the back and forth in that way. But the thing is, it's not translating to any real success for him. Like Lewis made a good point to me, Robbie, and Joe, where he was telling us that like there's gonna be people that love you and there's gonna be people that hate you, and like week to week, people will pick who their favorite is and they'll pick a new person in the group to hate, and it'll be this like dance you're doing with the audience. But he was like, at the end of the day, whether they love you or hate you and comment whatever, it's engagement. So it's like people are putting their eyes on you and engaging with what you're doing, and so that translates like money in your pocket, you know. But with him, it seems to be that it's just the engagement aspect of it, like he's constantly getting into these fights and people talking shit on him, but he's not translating to any sort of real success for him. That's what gets me about all of it. Like, I would understand if he was trolling and doing whatever he had to do to get like some sort of audience so he can make more money, but no, it's like it's not working. I think he's just doing it for the love of the game. Like, I don't know. There's because there is an art to trolling. There's a way to get people paying attention to you, to the weird shit you do that can translate to dollars, to dollar signs. But I don't know what he's doing. What was up with his cheap ass apartment back in the day? Yeah, I don't know. When I was living up there, I actually like called him because I heard he had a room open, and I was like, because I was having issues with the place I was living, and so I needed a place to live, and I actually called him and was like gonna see what the situation was and if I could take a tour or whatever and maybe move in. And he just his description of the place, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. This sounds terrible. Because he described it as like one big ass room that they had like sectioned off into different sleeping quarters, and it like there were people coming in at all like in and out at all hours, and he was like, so like, do you work like a 9 to 5? And I go, yeah. And he goes, I don't know, that might work. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Most people are working 9 to 5s, dude. And he was like, yeah, but like, we're all different artists and entertainers here, and I need to make sure that I have the space to do my podcast. And I was like, all right, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna live here. And then I ended up like talking to another friend of mine about that conversation. He was like, yeah, you definitely should not ever even visit that place. He was like, I visited him. He was telling me, he was like, I visited him months ago and actually like snuck money into a Harry Potter book, hoping he finds it so that he has a way to buy groceries and eat, because he's clearly not living well. So yeah, it was I guess it was like just a really disgusting like punk house or something he was living in. Yeah, he's a weird guy. Who am I to judge? I'm the weirdest of them all. Uh, um, yeah, it probably does smell really gross. Here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with living in poverty and squalor. Just don't broadcast it to the world. Don't show people pictures of it. Don't film things there. Don't talk about it. Do the Lenny from The Simpsons. Don't tell anyone how I live. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why he would ever show people the way. I don't. I'll never. I'm never going to show people how I live. I live in a boxcar in the middle of the woods, and I'm currently recording from the lobby of the Days Inn because they have free Wi-Fi. I show up. I get a Danish and a black coffee. What does Lewis smell like? Gasoline. Uh, from I don't know. That's Robbie. Okay. Robbie's in the live stream. Yeah, Robbie, I came up with a genius idea, Robbie. And everybody already heard me pitch this, but this is the idea is I'm going to be the first crowd work live streamer. So I'm taking all the, instead of doing the crowd work on stage, I'm just firing up the live stream, and it's time to ask people what they do for a living and are they dating. That's sort of my angle on streaming now. This is crowd work. Yeah. What did Seabass say? Yup, yup, yup. Hassan Rife. Hell yeah, dude. Hassan Rife. So I just found out that guy Hassan Piker, his uncle is how you say that guy's name? Sink Chink Chink Wigger from the Young Turks. His uncle is the guy from the Young Turks who's like trying to run for president now. Yeah, that's funny. It's funny when you can like follow the trail of like money for like all these people. You look at somebody like Hassan Piker and you're like, how's this guy successful? And it's like, oh, his uncle is Chink Wigger. Oh yeah, what did Siva say? You can be poor, but you don't have to be trash. A little self-respect. Yeah. You can be poor and bougie for sure. You can you know that's been my whole life. No, I've actually been poor and trash. I've never actually tried to appear like I've never made myself presentable. I remember one time I was like I was hanging out with there was like this girl I was hanging out with, like we weren't dating or whatever, but it was one of these classic like big titted pale goth girls with BPD, and she got like pissed off at me at one point, and she like sent me this like one of these like essays in a text, like paragraphs of shit that she sent to me, and she was like telling me all the ways that I suck and I'm like a creep and gross. And she was like, it's not just the fact that you're obese and obviously put no effort into your appearance. You fucking suck as a person. Was one of the things she said to me. Yeah, but she was right about that. I've definitely never put any effort into my appearance. I look like, I look like fucking like a grown up Ralph Wiggum. I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's probably why I get no bitches. That and just being unhinged. What did Daryl say? You subscribe to both of us and you enjoy the crossover episodes. Yeah, we have a good. Thank you for subscribing, for supporting us. That means a lot. And no matter what you do, just don't subscribe to the Buff Boys podcast. No, I'm kidding. Go support them, guys. They need it. Matt and Joe, podcasting duo. Great head of hair, though. I do have good hair. I should take better care of it and like style it. I got in the hair for a while. I went to Target one time and bought like a bunch of like black hair care products. Uh, like some sort of like shea butter, um, gel or something, or I don't know. It was like stuff for black people's hair because I thought like that's like where the good chemicals are. Like I just had this. I don't know where my what my thought. I just had this idea that like because black people's hair is so fucking crazy that like the black hair care products are where like that's like the actual hair care stuff. That's where the good shit is. So I bought like a bunch of different like gels and creams and pomades and natural shampoos and conditioners. I was like really focused on my hair for a while, and I just looked ridiculous because like I just had like really good ass hair, and then the rest of me looked fucking stupid. And I was just banking on like maybe people would just pay attention to how good my hair looks and not uh but realize that I'm wearing like a triple XL Slipknot shirt and cargo shorts and New Balances. Um Lizzo likes those because it has butter in the name. Yes, because she's fat. Yeah, that was. Is she still? What happened with that? What happened with Lizzo? Did she? She did anything ever come of that? Or maybe that's the maybe that's the conspiracies. All this shit is going on with Israel and Palestine to distract us from Lizzo. Finally something big enough is happening that we don't notice Lizzo. The um yeah, blame it on the Jews. Blame it on the Jews. Blame it on. How's that song? That's how that goes, right? She went to Palestine in what, a fucking shipping container? Uh, um, what is so? Yeah, the IDF has launched Lizzo into Gaza. The fatalities are we're still counting the number of casualties. How did you dodge the wigger path growing up? I don't know. It was I guess I'm trying to think because it was going to happen. I remember there was like definitely a moment when I was like veering into being a wigger and not just a wigger but like a juggalo. Like I was like a freshman in high school and I was like really getting into the insane clown posse. And then I think my family had an intervention. Uh, they had like a juggalo intervention to like tell me like, hey, you don't want to go down this path. You know, I know you like this music and the sort of imagery and the lore of the Dark Carnival, but you really don't want to. My uncle was like the hip hop guy in the family. Like he was well versed on hip hop, and so my mom had him sit me down and tell me like, you don't want to become a juggalo. Uh, Wigger, Aunt Robbie, Robbie's right. Wigger intervention. Somebody write that down. Wigger intervention is a good idea. Uh, that's a good idea for a sketch. Um, and yeah, and I'm trying to remember, and I think it was like because I remember like when Eminem and Linkin Park and all these like different sort of like white rappers and hip hop outfits were really popping off. I think it was like the people that I knew that were into that stuff. I think I just found those types of people like really annoying at my school because we didn't really have proper wiggers at my school. We had like we had cowboy boot wiggers and people that were into it, but I don't know. We didn't have like real proper wiggers, and so I just found the people that were into that like really annoying. But I think if there was more of like an actual wigger population where I was, yeah, it could have easily happened for me. Um, but we just didn't have like a big wigger population at my high school. Um, let's see, what is it? PO9 Ball, The Great Malenko is their best album. Yes, I agree. I went to the Great Malenko 20th anniversary show uh, years ago in Dallas, and they performed the entire album, and I had a really good time. Um, that's the thing. Yeah, I guess that is the thing about getting older. That's nice is you start to realize like all the stuff you were afraid to enjoy in your youth. You realize like, oh, I can just enjoy this stuff now. Like I don't have to worry about what other kids think about this. I can just have a good ass time at an Insane Clown Posse concert. Um, and I did have a good time. We were drenched in Diet Fago. Uh, and yeah, I enjoyed it. um, wait, did my uncle sit in a chair backwards for the wigger intervention? No, he weighs like 400 pounds. I don't think he could pull off that position. Um, no, he just sat normally. I think when you get to a certain size, you can't do the cool backward chair sit. Um, yeah, yeah, we got some real corn fed people in my family. Some real fat fucking fat asses, myself included. Um, I had a speaking of Fago, I had a the like Fago version of Hawaiian Punch the other day. It's called Ohana Punch, and it was that was awesome. It was really good. So everybody, if you have Fago where you're at, check out the Ohana Punch, the Fago knockoff of Hawaiian Punch. Oh, by the way, I have big news. Speaking of soft drinks, I have officially made the switch to Pepsi. I'm now full time Pepsi. They they changed their logo, and I saw it in the store, and I thought the logo looked really nice. And I've always been a Coca Cola guy, you know, and but I saw the new Pepsi logo, and I was like, you know, I ain't drink a Pepsi in a coon's age, so I'm gonna get me a can of this here Pepsi, and I got a Pepsi, and I was like, this is really good. I don't know if they changed the formula or if maybe it's just a maturity thing, but I was like, I'm really enjoying this Pepsi, um, and then I tried the Pepsi Wild Cherry, and that's excellent. That's as like close to cheer wine as you can get without actually getting cheer wine. Um, so yeah, I'm full time Pepsi now. So if I go to a Pizza Hut, is Pepsi okay? It's yes, it is. Um, Dalton, how's your cousin, the meth head one? The last I heard is he got like he was dealing with like maybe like 11 potential felony charges. A number of those of which were like some like some sort of like illegal possession of guns or something. So I have no idea. Um, I don't think he's in jail now yet, but that was the last I heard was that he was being brought up on like a number of different felony charges. But yeah, I don't know. Um, he might also just be dying. That's another issue. Is he was like he was already dealing with like a lot of health issues, and then was like got smoked a bunch of meth and lost a bunch of weight, and so his health is just kind of fucked up. So he might just be dying as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't keep in touch with my family ever. Like any of my family. Like I don't know what any of my it's always like so weird to me when I see people online like posting about shit that their family is up to, or like anyone who has like any close relationships with their cousins or whatever, because it's like I haven't spoken to any of my cousins in years. uh like a lot of them. Like, I got a cousin who like I think lives in like Germany or something. Yeah, I don't know. And I haven't talked to her in like a decade. Um, so yeah, I'm not close with like any of my family, unfortunately. Especially on my dad's side, because they're all just like old, miserable fucking people who are ready to die or waiting to die. Just really old. Because my grandma, uh, she had like she had like a litter of kids young, and then got divorced, and then met her second husband, and then had my dad and his twin sister. So like my dad and his twin are like way younger than all of my aunts and uncles on that side. So it's like that side of the family is just a bunch of people in their like 70s and 80s who are just like waiting to die. Like my uncle Billy's, I think finally getting ate up by the Agent Orange, from Vietnam, and so he's he's just any day now is what he says. Any day now he'll be dead. Um, and a lot of them already have died. You know, whether it was like smoking related issues or like heartbreak. You know, doesn't that because that's something that happens, right? Like if your like spouse and child dies, you also just die because you can't handle the grief, and that's what happened to one of my aunts. Um, I guess I probably shouldn't talk about all this. It's too personal. It's to keep that in the family. Um, but you know, and I just found out that my nana, my grandmother on my mom's side, just drafted up a will, and I was like, a will for what? She doesn't have anything. Her fucking house burned down like 6 years ago. She doesn't own anything. Like, even then it was like, what was going to be in the will? Her fucking VHS collection and all of her weird, creepy porcelain dolls. Yeah, I mean, my nana drafted up a will. Um, I guess she's expecting to go out at some point. I don't know. And my fat uncle who did the wigger intervention, I think he's giving up. He quit his job and he just like lays in bed all day now, which is kind of what I do. I work from home, and so I just spend all day either in front of a computer, just laying in bed, hoping something good happens. Um, and just I don't know, just hoping that maybe we get another Jack Sparrow movie. I think that yeah, that would really turn things around for me if we got a Jack Sparrow movie. That's my favorite character of all time. Um, man, I've been going for a while now. Is this entertaining for any? How's this going? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Is this a good live stream? I don't know. What is? Does anybody want to? I guess I could just try and do this more. Like do like a have the live chat up and just talk to folks through this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's cool that people actually tune in for this and interacted with the stream. This is fun. I enjoy this. This can be something I do regularly, or maybe we'll see how it goes. But it's an interesting idea to interact in this way live. I've tried doing like, wait, Aiden said, "Sorry, I brought the tone down." Yeah, that's not on you, man. I did that. I started thinking about my family too much. Um, yeah. Uh, playing Dave the Diver. What is Dave the Diver? I've never even heard of that. Do you read manga? No, I've tried. I'm trying to think if there's one that I ever actually like kept up with. Oh yeah, because you asked about Berserk earlier. Yeah, I read a few issues of Berserk, and it was cool. Like I get it. Um, I do. I've been meaning to. I remember. I think I read the first volume of Akira like 2 years ago, and I've been meaning to read the rest of it because I hear it's like wildly different from the movie. Like there's way more that happens in the Akira manga, but I just never finished it. Um, but I do actually want to read that one. Um, yeah, I mean, manga is just like really inaccessible to me. It's like there's so many volumes, and there's no good like starting point except issue volume one from start at the beginning and keep like it's like with Western comic books. There's at least like a lot of places you can just jump in without having to like start from the beginning. But like a lot of mangas, you do kind of have to start with the first one. Um, and so yeah, I've always found it to be like pretty inaccessible and extremely expensive. And I'm trying not to like own things anymore. Like I've like owned and thrown away so much shit, just like fucking wasting money on trying to own stuff. It's like I'm trying to go minimalist in my life now, so I guess maybe like digital would be the way to go. But I don't want to have to lug around a bunch of fucking books and Funko Pops, and figurines. Oh man, what's the deal with Funko Pops? Why are there so many people buying that shit? It's just like a fucking dumb little vinyl figure, like minimalist vinyl figure. People need to grow the fuck up. Too many like there should be more shame associated with nerd culture, at least aspects of it. They're grown men should not be proud of their Funko Pop collection. Um, you know what I mean? They shouldn't show off their fucking action figures. You shouldn't have them. Like honestly, like a grown man shouldn't have action figures. What's that Bible verse? When I was a boy, I played with boy stuff, and then I grew up and got rid of my boy stuff. I'm paraphrasing. I think it's like a Bible verse. Um, Funko Pop is peak soy boy consumerist slop. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that now. A lot of fucking slop. That's kind of I'm kind of banking on that actually, just being like a content creator. Like I would like to add to the slop, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff now that's just like it's really weird. Um, I remember I had this like you just reminded me because I had this thought years ago about like it was like one of the first times I think I ever smoked weed. And I think like they had just done the last Harry Potter movie. So Deathly Hallows Part 2 had done its run in theaters. And I remember like hanging out with some friends at that time, and I was like smoking weed with them, and I got like too high. And I remember like trying to tell I was like having this like really high thought where I was like, like the like Harry Potter's done, right? Like they just did the last movie. They were like, yeah. And I go, yeah, but I don't think it's ever gonna go away. And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, Harry Potter's too successful. They're not gonna stop making Harry Potter stuff. Like it's just gonna go on forever. And we're just always gonna have like Harry Potter content. And they couldn't understand like why this was freaking me out, like why this was like what point I was trying to make. But I just had this like very real like realization that like they're just gonna keep churning stuff out if it ever made money at any point, regardless of quality or like if it's even entertaining in any way. And they've definitely done that with Harry Potter. They just keep making fucking Harry Potter shit. And then like the the most recent one, because I just watched it last night. I watched the first episode of this new Frasier reboot, and it's like that is yeah, it's all like really baffling to me that they just won't let stuff um end. Like they keep like fucking doing like necromancy on the corpses of entertainment and just bringing shit back. And so now Frasier's on again, and he's like, it's like, Frasier's 70 now, still trying to get pussy, and he's back in Boston, which doesn't like, okay, so he's back in Boston, and it's just not like, so he's in Boston. Where's Sam? Where's Cliff? Where's Norm? Carla? Like that's a weird creative decision to bring Frasier back to Boston, and he makes no effort to hang out with the fucking gang, with the Cheers gang. That's crazy. And but it's also like, why bring it back? Like, it was, I get that it's like a beloved show, but they keep trying to like bring everything back, and it's all slop, and it's like banking on like everybody's nostalgia. Like, nobody can just fucking move on from anything. And like, I hate nostalgia. I'm on TikTok all the time, and because I'm addicted, I'm an addict, and TikTok is better than any drug. And there's this lady that keeps popping up who's like, here's something from the 90s you might have forgotten about, and I'm just like, pass, fuck you, I don't care. I'm not nostalgic for 90s Halloween decorations or whatever. Like, all these people who can't move on from their fucking childhoods. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just like there's we're getting like, we're in this like weird feedback loop of nostalgia. We're like, generations now. My friend Jay put this better than I'm going to, but it was like, he made a good point where it's like, generations now are being raised on the prior generation's nostalgia rather than things that are like geared toward them. So it's like, people are growing up with in like, the culturally, the things that are being presented to them are like based on the nostalgia of the generation before them, and that, like, that is weird. Yeah, culture is frozen. Yes, yeah, I agree, because it's like, why? And I know I'm not a kid anymore, but why don't you ever hear about like what's going on like, why is it that people's perception of like cartoons and Nickelodeon and all that is still just like Hey Arnold and fucking Cat Dog and all that? But also, why do any adults care about that stuff? But I mean, what are the actual children growing up with? Like, what do they have that's gonna like glue make their generation like their generation? It's probably nothing that's on actual TV. It's probably like fucking internet shit, like Skibbity Toilets or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I just hate nostalgia. I hate that feeling of like trying to reclaim the like aspects of your youth that you miss, because it's a futile effort. Like, you're never going to get that back. Like that feeling of being like that feeling of being a kid, and like, I don't know how old you guys are, but like myself, like just that 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 feeling of being a kid and sitting in front of the TV and watching, like, I don't know, like All That or Rocco's Modern Life or Courage or any of that stuff. Like, yeah, you're never gonna get that back. So you have to like move on. You can't like cling to these things. And same with Frasier. Why are you bringing Frasier back? We're never gonna get that feeling back of the golden era of Frasier. Now it's just a corpse, a reanimated corpse of what it was. Um, yeah, just a lot of slop. Who am I to talk though? It's like, I've never made anything good. I've never written a TV show. And have I seen the Palestinian chicken episode of Curb? Yes. Yeah, that's a very good distillation of Israel and Palestine. There's also a like a short, like a musical that came out years and years ago that's very funny, called West Bank Story. And it's West Side Story, but Israel and Palestine. If you can find, I don't know where you'd find that now, but I remember watching that when it came out, and it was like, pretty informative and also like very funny. Um, so yeah, I've seen that episode. What is this? What does this guy say? Also, nothing can just be a shitty side hobby anymore. Everything has a subculture now that is being marketed to. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, every niche and nook and cranny of culture in the internet is being subsumed into the greater marketplace and brought it, made into capital. The real villain, folks, capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Capitalism is responsible for all the bad things in the world. um, yeah, I wonder about that. Like all the people that bitch about capitalism also stand to benefit from it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure I've recorded myself saying this somewhere before, but yeah, that if you publicly complain about capitalism enough, there's like this paradoxical thing that can happen where if people like what you're saying and are drawn to it and want to pay for it, then you end up like succeeding. You end up like becoming successful and wealthy from complaining about capitalism, and effectively you've like capitalism has benefited you. So the thing you were complaining about actually, you prove that it works. It's sort of the rage, yes, the rage against the machine paradox. So like they bitch about capitalism, but in doing so also prove how it can work really well. Yeah, it's interesting. Um, and why can't I send in a super chat? Two reasons. First off, I don't know I got to figure out how to set that up. But secondly, I don't qualify for any of that yet. Like YouTube has like um rules or like metrics that you have to meet before you can monetize anything. So I think like just to monetize my channel, I have to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched of whatever's up there. And then from there I can figure out how to set up the super chats. I don't know, because I'm doing this. Yeah, you guys are watching on YouTube, but I'm also like running this through StreamYard, so I'm like seeing everything through StreamYard. I'll figure it out. This is like I'm just like testing it out today to see how this goes and what this might look like. Like this is a fun way to interact with people in it. Like maybe do a show. I've tried versions of this. Like I've done the like when Twitter rolled out the Twitter Spaces thing. I thought that might be like a good like a fun thing to like try and do some sort of show that way, or like a call in or a chat show. But that's like it's tough to reach out to people that way, and I find that like when I fire up the Spaces thing, it's usually just the same people over and over again. I've made friends doing it. I have people, a good posse of people that tune in there, but it's nothing substantial, and it's not really a show. It's just fucking around on Twitter. And I don't know, is this is this a show? It's a live stream. But yeah, I'm just getting a feel for it, and then yeah, I'll figure out how to do the monetization stuff as it goes along as I build the channel. So please spread the word about this YouTube channel, Cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. YouTube.com/@cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Oh wait, my co-host texted me. Oh, they want to. Oh yeah, we actually have to record a Patreon episode today. Have I read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl? Yes, I took acid one day and walked around and read that book cover to cover as I walked around different parks and places in the city. So I have read it. I don't, yeah, I can't remember a lot of specifics from it, but I've internalized it spiritually and emotionally, and all that stuff he talks about. The Holocaust stuff is very inspiring. Um, And was this? Yeah, I should read it sober. Yeah, reading books on drugs is really stupid. I did that. I took Adderall once and read Simulacra and Simulation by Baudrillard cover to cover, and I don't know if I retained much of that. And then yeah, and I read most of Dune while I was on mushrooms and acid, and we all saw how that worked out for me. So yeah, it's probably best to. And I think I read Blood Meridian while I was really high. So yeah, you should read sober. Um, and Catan Settlers of. um, that's actually kind of wholesome. Like you had a friend who asked you if they play Catan, and he's like really involved in the Catan community. That's pretty wholesome. um, yeah. Oh, you said something over here. You'd rather be made fun of for playing D&D than be a part of some gay community that's constantly trying to sell me dice. Yeah, the dice thing is weird with D&D. It's like why do people have to own multiple sets of dice? You can just have one set. Have I ever read any Philip K. Dick? Yeah, I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and I read like half of Ubik. Um and then I went crazy. But I was getting into Dick for a while. Philip K. and Penis. Um, yeah, I like Philip K. Dick. I like him, and I really like Harlan Ellison. I like him a lot too. I read Vic and Blood, the Boy and His Dog stories, and I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Harlan Ellison rocks. He's been popping up on my TikTok feed lately. People post these old like Harlan Ellison interviews and these like monologues he would do in front of the camera, and he rocks. He's such an interesting guy because he was talking about this shit, like all the stuff that I've been bitching about, and like the things that like a lot of people are concerned about now. He was talking about this stuff like back in the 70s, and was like always on top of this. Like he posted, there was like something he did. He has like this one video where he was I think it was like sometime in the 90s about like how he was like getting sick of sequels and remakes and stuff. And this was like in the 90s before that became like just what everybody does all the time. And he like broke it down in a way that I've like never heard anyone uh yeah talk about that sort of thing as succinctly as he did. But yeah, he was like another visionary in terms of doomsday prophecies when it comes to culture. um yeah, HP Lovecraft was a racist. Yes, he was, but he was also a white guy in like what, the 20s whenever he was writing that stuff. It's like it'd be weird if he wasn't a racist. Like if you grew up in like a small northeastern town as a white person in the like early 20th century, then yeah, it stands to reason that you would be racist. There wasn't a lot of progressive thinking going on then, and and that's why Cthulhu sounds like a fucking African. Like the word Cthulhu just sounds like a fucking like the chief of some African tribe, but it's a spooky interdimensional octopus monster. But I mean, we know what he really meant. It was just Cthulhu's an allegory for how scary black people are. What are they up to? The true unknown. What is that black guy up to over there? um Transhumanism. I'm not like too knowledgeable on that. As far as I understand it, I like the idea of becoming a cyborg. That sounds awesome. Like Ghost in the Shell type shit. Like augmenting your body with different upgrades and weaponry and stuff like that. But when people talk about like um uploading your consciousness to the cloud, oh, this might actually end soon. I think because I'm on the free thing, this might actually cut off in 2-1. Is it still going? Oh, it is still going. Never mind then. I probably should wrap this up soon. I mean, it's been going like 2 hours. You want to leave them wanting more. But yeah, as far as transhumanism goes, I like the idea of becoming a cyborg. What I don't like is like this idea of uploading yourself to the internet. That sounds ridiculous to me. I don't like that because then you're just making a copy of yourself. That's not like a real. You're not like interacting with what's happening. It's just there's a program that thinks it's you that's now on the internet. But yeah, becoming a cyborg sounds awesome. And so yeah, if there was a way to like give me some sort of injection or a chip in my brain that would give me like limitless powers and make me like smarter and more efficient, I would do that. That sounds cool. Um, yeah, I've always wanted to be part man, part machine. Uh, yeah, what does this guy say? Being a cyborg and getting hacked sounds terrifying. Um, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, we don't know what that looks like yet, but I mean, we've already been hacked. They shoved all the phones in our pockets and put the screens in front of us. We've already been psychically hacked by everything. So what's another thing? Oh, this guy. Your episode of History Homos about the slaughter of Mexican women was good. If you think of another topic, you do another episode with them about. Well, I just did an episode with them actually about Mormonism. The guy who tried to like con the Mormon Church into thinking he was the new Joseph Smith. So it's like after Joseph Smith died, there was like another guy who popped up who said like I'm the leader. So we just did a fun episode about that. But what's another topic I would do with them? I don't know. That's a good question because I'm not like a big history buff, but I should be. You know what's interesting to me actually? I never finished it. I bought this book that was all about I guess I need to finish reading it, but it's all about the like leading up, or maybe it was like right after World War I. But it was like all the guys in like Austria and Germany, like that area at that time, who were the sort of like occultists who were beginning the like the guys who started this idea that like the Aryans were descendants of like Atlantis and all the like occultist sort of stuff. Like they were taking all the different symbology and history of different cultures and religions and all this sort of stuff and twisting it to make it so that it all led back to like Austrian Germanic Aryanism, and that they were like the true. So it was like the beginnings of like what would become the Third Reich, but they were just like weird fucking like sort of like occultist con men. That shit's interesting to me to see like what led to World War II was like the dumbest shit of all time. Just like two fucking con men going around telling the people of Austria and Germany that we're descendants of Atlanteans, but because of all the race mixing, we lost our superpowers. That would be fun. Would I ever go to Skankfest again? Oh yeah, I'll be back. Just give me look. I'm plotting. I'm plotting. You're well versed in the Bible, in the MO of Christianity, especially being brought up by DFW Texas. I don't know how well versed in the Bible I am. And Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My thing with Christianity is I think like church is good. I like church, and I think if you go to like a just like a community church, that's actually a pretty good thing. You know, just like an actual like small church in your community. Um, yeah, I don't really see a lot of negatives with something like that. It's just like the perversions of Christianity that make it a problem. You know, like all the big televangelists and people like killing in the name of yeah but the people who like waged wars in the name of Christ and like perverted the message to who kind of given it a bad name. But like I don't um yeah I think like religion is kind of for a lot of people like a really good thing, especially in terms of like the community that it offers. um like I was when I was like going through the shit like a couple of years, like whenever that was, I guess that was like 2 years ago at this point. I was like going back to church at that time because I was like just trying to find something, and it was a really positive experience. um but you know there's definitely bad versions of it, like you know Jim Baker and all these fucking con men who've used the word of God to you know turn that into owning 3 private jets and fucking widows out of their husbands' pensions. Uh, yeah, I used to live next to Kenneth Copeland. Um, my family had this house in this like suburb of Fort Worth, and his estate was like next to us, and so it was like this big golden estate, and you would see his jet just come in and out all the time. And I remember one time I was like bicycling with my dad, and we like rolled up to the front gate of the Kenneth Copeland estate, and the security guard came out and gave us trouble. I was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" And we were weary travelers, and we understand Kenneth Copeland is a man of God. May we have a place to rest our weary heads. Um. Oh, yeah. I guess we're recording the Patreon in a half hour. All right. I guess I should. Yeah, I should. This has gone on. I'm running out of steam on this. But this is fun. This is a fun little experiment. This one, and it was nice to have the be able to interact with people. And thanks for whoever asked about the super chats. Thank you for asking. Trust me, I will find a way for people to give me money. But no, this is cool. This is cool. I like doing this, and I like talking to folks. So just come back next week. I'll do this again, and tell everyone that my show exists. Patreon.com/cornfed Dalton Pruitt. If you're subscribed to Gas Digital, go into the Racist Live chat and spam it with promotions for my show. Long live Doja Cat. She's awesome. Thanks everybody. Yeah, let's do this again sometime. Thank you. Goodbye. I love you.